Hello, boys and girls. Today we're looking at lesson 1.6, use the break apart strategy to add. All right, let's look at the top up here, unlock the problem. It says there are more zoos in Germany than in any other country. At one time, there were 355 zoos in the United States and 414 zoos in Germany. How many zoos were there in the United States and Germany altogether? We can use the break apart strategy to find the sums. Now remember, a sum is just the answer to an addition problem. Example 1, adding 355 plus 414. And the first thing they're going to do is estimate 355 and 414. They're both in the hundreds, so we're going to round to the nearest hundred. And 355 is closest to 400. Remember, our two choices here would be 300 and 400. And it's closer to 400. And 414, our two choices are 400 and 500, and it is closer to 400. And once we estimate those two numbers, I'll erase that, 400 plus 400 is 800. And the reason we estimate, it's once we actually find our answer, it tells us our final sum or our final answer, if it's close to our estimate, that tells us we're probably on the right track and pretty close to having the right answer, if not having the right answer. Step 2, break apart the addends. We start with the hundreds, and then we add each place value. Okay? So, if we move over here to the side, there we go. 355, we're going to break it apart. Officially, it's called the distributive property, and we get 300. That's this, plus the tens. We have 5 tens, and 5 tens then is 50. We count by 10, 5 times, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, and then plus the 5 ones. 414, we have 4 ones here. We have 1 10, and then we have 4 hundreds, so that's going to be 400. So we broke it apart, each addend, and now we can add those up. We add the ones column, and 5 plus 4 is 9. We add the tens column, 50 plus 10 is 60. And we also add the hundreds column, 300 plus 400 is 700. Then we take those three and add them up. 700 plus 60 plus 9. And the total is 769. So there were 769 zoos in the United States and Germany altogether. And not only that, but 769 is fairly close to our estimate of 800. Okay. Example 2. Add 467 plus 208. Again, we're going to estimate. So when we estimate 467, our two choices are 400 and 500, and it is closer to 500. 208, our two choices are 200, 300, and it is closer to 200. Then when we add those together, we get 700. So our estimate is 700. Our final answer should be close to that. 467, we're going to break that apart. We have 400, we have 6 tens, so that is 60, and we have 7 ones. 208, we have 2 hundreds, we have 0 tens, so there's a 0 here, and we have 8 ones. So the 7 plus the 8, we're going to add that up first. 7 plus 8 is 15. 60 plus 0 is 60. 400 plus 200 is 600. Now we're going to take these three numbers and add them up. Okay? And if you can't solve that on your own, that's okay. We can always write it this way too. 600 plus 60 plus 15. So don't always rely on solving it in your head. Add up my ones column. That's 5. 6 tens and 1 10, 7 tens, and 600 plus nothing is 675. Okay, when we add these up, I like to add these smaller ones first. 60 plus 15 is 75, which we saw right there. And then we add 600 to that, and it's 675. So we can write 675 right here. 467 plus 208, 675. That's what we just solved. All right, let's move over to the next page. Try this. Use the break apart strategy to find 343 plus 259. First, we're going to estimate. 343 is just about 300. 259 rounds to 300. Add those two up, we get 600. So that's our estimate. Now, what I want you to do, boys and girls, is pause the video, solve this whole problem right here, and once you're done, press play on my video and match up what you have written down to the correct answers. Let's see how we do. So go ahead and pause the video. All right, I'm assuming you're all done. Let's break this apart. 343, that's 300 plus 40 plus 3. If you have that right, give yourself a little pat on the back. If you don't, pause the video again. Fix it so you have 40 plus 3. And then our second number was 259, and that's going to be 200 plus 50 plus 9. And if you have that, give yourself another pat on the back. And if you didn't, fix it up so it looks this way. And then finally, we add them up. We're going to add our ones column up. 3 plus 9 is 12. Now our tens column here, 40 plus 50 is 90. And finally, we're going to add our hundreds column. 300 plus 200 is 500. If you have that right, give yourself a little pat on the back again. If not, fix it up. Now we have to add them up. And this is where it can get a little bit tricky. We have to add 90 plus 12. That's 102. Okay, 90 plus 12. I'm going to write that over here. 2 plus 0 is 2. And then I'll add my tens column. 9 plus 1 is 10 tens. That is 102. And to that 102, I need to add our 500 over here. Okay, so I'm going to write in 500, add that in, and we get 602. Make sure you're written 602 in the answer box. If you got that, give yourself a pat on the back and a fist pump. If not, fix it up so it looks that way. Okay. Now that we're done with that part of it, I need you to go to Share and Show. Same process. Go ahead and do numbers 1 and 2 and show me those two answers for 1 and 2. I will not have you do 3 and 4 unless you're missing anything on 1 and 2. Then I'll have you do some of that work as well. If you get that right, it's time to move on to lesson 1.6 and see how we do there. If you need more support, always come and see me. This is Mr. P, and I am out.